which is that you, not a general you, not some other flute player, but you specifically, can play anything that you would like to play. Anything. There's just a few requirements. One, you have to be willing to go as slow as it takes. You have to be willing to go as slow as it takes. Two, you have to be willing to break it down into the smallest pieces. Three, you have to be willing to try as many times as it takes. If you can go slow enough, practice in small enough pieces, and be willing to do the repetitions it requires for you, you can play anything. Shop for something that catches your eye, that sparks your imagination, and learn it and not feel limited in that way. Fly to the Bumblebee. This is something that is very fun to play with fast fingers that can handle chromatic patterns. This opening line, it does fly. You want to just be able to pick up your flute and do that on command, which requires muscle memory and definitely patient practice to get it going. First grouping game we're going to do is called Perky Twos. So I'm going to do a little tongue slur pattern. 1, 2, just the first 2 notes. And then I'll leave a space for you to do the same right after me. And then I'll do the next 2. I'm never repeating any notes. So let's try the first line of Fly to the Bumblebee in Perky Twos. I'll play, then you play, but hopefully all of you guys are on mute so the people at home following along can also have a space so they can play. So I'm starting with E, D sharp. So hopefully you guys played it with the same kind of patience and the same kind of pacing that I did. With Perky Twos, you can actually do a second round. If you start on the second note, then you'll get all different combinations. So let's practice together again, but I'm starting on the D sharp this time. So we've now done 2 different rounds. Now, next, on to Passionate Threes. And I think I've taught you guys these games before, but I really wanted to take time for you to try them today because they are so powerful. They are one of my favorite games to go to, set of games to go to. So we're on to Passionate Threes. I'm starting again on the E, a little slower, and passionate meaning cantabile vibrato. I'll leave a space for you to play like I did before. And because I want to be efficient with our time and talk about lots of practice games today, we won't do all 3 rounds of Passionate Threes, but do understand you can do round 2 starting on the D sharp and round 3 starting on the D natural, and you'll get all different combinations. So 2 rounds of Perky 2s, 3 rounds of Passionate Threes. Now we're going to try what I call Addams Family, modeled after that tune from the old TV show or even the more recent movies. Da 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 da. So we're playing 4 notes. And if you are very coordinated and you actually want to snap the snaps, you can. But I have actually replaced the snaps with a contemporary technique of just making an air noise on the syllable ch, like CH, with my mouth pretty open. So I'll play the first 4 notes and then just make the little snap sounds with my ch's. So again, I'll leave a space for you to try, and I'm not repeating any notes. So 4 at a time, starting on the E. And you can do, you guessed it, 4 rounds of Addams Family. So 2 rounds of Perky 2s, 3 rounds of Passionate Threes, 4 rounds of Addams Family starting on the E, the D sharp, the D, and then for round 4, the C sharp. The last set of grouping games I like to do is opportunities. You could actually keep going to 6s and 7s, and if it's a really tricky passage and you can challenge yourself like that, I would. But 5s usually start to make the whole thing cook in my mind. So 2 things for opportunities. I'm very stickler about thinking opportunity, so I can actually be playing 5 notes. Or if you're more of a numbers person, you could think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But then the big thing is to leave a lot of space in between so that your brain can process what's coming next. Do not rush through opportunities or you'll defeat the purpose. So I'm going to leave quite a big space in between. Starting on the E, opportunity. And as you can tell, I didn't have 5 notes left at the end, but it's always fine to do an incomplete grouping. So you can do 5 rounds of opportunities. And I think when I showed it to you before, I made the point that after you do 2 rounds of Perky 2s, 3 rounds of Passionate 3s, 4 rounds of opportunity, or of Addams Family, and 5 of opportunities, you've practiced it 14 different ways. And there is something about having all of the different perspectives of the different groups that wires your brain differently than if you were to just play it in the straightforward way over and over again. It's very good to do plain repetitions too, but you're going to be amazed. I highly recommend everybody go download Flight of the Bumblebee from flutetunes.com. That's the one we were just looking at, and try these grouping games, all 14 rounds on that first line even, and then enjoy how fast it flows through your fingers. It's quite something. I love it. I'm kind of addicted to that feeling.